Yo, hockey fans, Flyers fans, why do bad things only happen in Philadelphia? You can get this t-shirt at phillydrinkers.com. You can also hit that like and subscribe and follow A2D. You can follow us. We got a lot to talk about with the Flyers. Let's get at it.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like Oates gegen Heat Stink!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Satsudi, along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What up?
And the Broken One, Rob Povia.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think what I meant to say was quiet.
Sorry.
Cobra Kai. Yeah, if you watch Cobra Kai, you got that joke.
Sorry.
We welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. And tonight, we are going to, we're just going to get it all out. Because you know what? It's, again, another one of those shows where it's like, God damn it, why does this team make us have to do this every fucking week, it seems, where we have to literally rip them a new asshole. At this point, it's gotten to the point where it's become our gimmick. And that's pretty bad that our gimmick is we have to rip them every week. But that's what has happened. I don't know if it's time for that, but
Yeah,
either way.
I don't think we're ready for that yet.
It's just a preemptive warning that it's going to come on this show. Just wait.
Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. All right. If you're good. Anyway.
I'm not good.
Yeah. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are brought to you by Body Check Wellness. As always, 25% off of your order. You can use the A2D code. They are a line of products using hemp and THC-free products. And they're good for you dieting, getting focused in on an assignment, whether it's like for school or if it's for work or whatnot. All of that is available. And it's great products. And Rob has used them, and it's made his work very, very easy. He's been able to stay clear, focused, and just on the mark. All right.
Like the socials, I'm hearing what you're saying. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And today's poll question, Claude Giroux should be traded. Agree or disagree? Now, this is going to be an interesting one to throw out because there are a couple of sides to this. Usually, you could divide the Flyers fans up into two categories. The side that defends Claude Giroux and the side that wants to get rid of Claude Giroux. And I think we firmly established ourselves in the former, as we have always tried to pretty much say is like, why go back on, why get rid of Giroux when this team's going to suck without him? And unfortunately, as this decade has gone by of him being captain, unfortunately, the Flyers have done very little with his contributions. So my question to you is, gentlemen, agree or disagree? Should the Flyers trade him at this point? It's been a decade later. He's been captain for a long time. He's at the end of his long contract. Should they just ask Claude does he want to wave and go for a cup? Or should he try and stick around and try to wait it out? What are you guys feeling?
I'm going to shock a lot of people right now because I've been one of Claude Giroux's biggest defenders in this city. And I still believe that he's one of the most underappreciated athletes in the city.
Pretty much.
I agree. I think it's time. Unfortunately, I don't think this team is going anywhere. And we're in the last year of his deal. This is clearly a bigger mess than we as a team originally thought. And it's time to bring some pieces back. It's as much as I don't think it should be a rebuild, I think it's time to really consider start retooling here. And one of the best ways to do that is to trade one of the guys with the most trade value you have on this roster. Now, Rob shared something with me earlier in the week from Elliot Friedman. I'll let him talk about that because there's another player that I think that I don't want to see go either, but I think it might be time to move on from him as well because these are the guys that have the most trade value here, and you can get something for these guys. I hate it because I love Giroux. I want to see him win a cup, and I don't think it's going to happen in the city anytime soon. And I think right now it's an absolute waste of him and his talent because this team is doing nothing to put anybody of value around him. And now it comes out that Bobby Clark and Ron Hextall didn't see eye to eye on a few picks, one of them being Nolan Patrick. There's a bigger issue with this organization right now, and right now they need to figure that out. And now it's time to get some of these older players out and start bringing in some younger ones. And I love G. I don't want to see him go, but I think it's time.
Robbie?
Yeah, you boys already know my thoughts on this. We talked last night. We talked this morning. I cut my opinion on the promo video, and I think if you can get some valuable pieces in retooling this team, you got to give G a chance to win a cup somewhere else. And he's going to be a free agent come the offseason. You can sign him right back. You've seen this move done many times over in the NHL, other sports too, but a lot of times in the NHL, to where he could still, finish his career as a Flyer, even if that isn't translating into this following season. Even if it's like he maybe spends the rest of this cup run plus a season with a team, depending on how it goes there. You take that risk, you take that chance. Maybe he likes where he goes, and everybody likes hoisting cups. No.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's the reason they play the game, right?
Right.
Rocking my Hockey Hall of Fame mug tonight.
Nice.
You can get really nice HUD mugs at FLYERS.com.
That you can.
Oh, I see what you did there. Bang, bang.
Well done.
But ultimate, real quick, Maddie, just to finish off my point about Jay, right? The question will be, will he waive it? And I think absolutely the answer to that is yes. That was just to the other point with Bryan. And he might not be the only name that's on the trade block for the Flyers. To the point that I made earlier, Elliot Friedman coming out and saying that he has no doubt that Ivan Provorov is another player that could be dealt. It's a sort of a tricky statement there because he said he has no doubt, but it could be. So I think the answer again to that should be yes. And I'll let you boys speak to that why, and I'll get you the stats on why I think that moving Provorov right now would also be a smart move for the Philadelphia Flyers.
All right, then.
There's a couple of reasons for that before I let Matty jump in here. The biggest one is he's not living up to the hype. He was expected to be a number one defenseman, a solo guy, a number one D-pair guy, like the guy. He's not the guy. He's not even the second guy right now, in my opinion. Has he had some good seasons here? Absolutely. He's been a little inconsistent, but for the most part, he's been solid. But he hasn't been what they expected him to be. Now, that being said, could he go somewhere else and we wind up being like, well, fuck. Where was this Provorov? Absolutely. That's a Philly thing. It doesn't matter who you root for. It just happens. The Phillies are the worst. They'll trade somebody and that guy will blow up and become the 17-time All-Star. It's just our luck. But they're in a situation. They're in a really messy situation now. Especially now with some of the front office stuff coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's time to move on. I don't want to say it. I mean, I'm agreeing with a lot of guys. Branks, I'm a G guy too, bud. It's time for him to go. I'm a Provorov fan. I love Provy. I've met the guy. He's a real nice guy. It's time for him to go. This team needs to figure out its major issues here.
This team is fundamentally flawed, and you need to retool it, and you need to retool it now. Or, I mean, like, you're just on a sinking ship.
It starts at the top.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be you know me, I'm not the guy who ever says anything like what I'm about to say. Comcast Spectacor should not be owning this team right now. I think Comcast Spectacor is holding this team back.
That's an even bigger problem.
Office back. And I also think there's other things at play here. And I think a lot of people agree with me on this one. Stop bringing Flyers back. Stop bringing back guys that are from this organization. You need to bring guys in from the outside in, because these guys are not bringing they're not doing any good. Obviously, the player development that Ron Hextall had as a GM, it was not as good as we thought. Because none of these guys are living up to it. TK. Coots had a few good years. Although I don't think I can't remember if he's a Hextall guy or not.
He's a homegrown pick.
But even still, you can even go to Paul Holmgren. He's another former Flyer. It's time to start bringing in new ownership, a real owner who can actually focus on this team and not forget the owner's birthday and not even mention it. And you got get Holmgren out. I'm okay with keeping Chuck Fletcher for now. But you got to get all these former Flyers out and bring in guys who are from the outside, because it's killing me seeing all these teams moving forward. Anaheim's moving forward with the rebuild before Philly does. LA's starting to move forward. Philly's stuck in the same spot they were 10 years ago. It's time to move on. It's time to start fresh. It's time to get the toxicity out of this organization and get this organization back on track to being the organization that the city deserves. Maddie, go ahead.
All right. So, John Coyle saying disagree completely. Hello, Renee, and hello, John. Let's go Flyers. Although I think the crying face or the frozen crying face there at the end would disagree on that. Chuck's saying, gentlemen, what's up? And he's saying disagree. Sorry, maybe I'm biased, but I love G too much to trade him. That's a very understandable thing.
I love him too, Chucks.
Yeah, Rob.
I was going to say, but you could bring him right back. I disagree with Brian. I didn't want to interrupt his tirade, but yeah, you could bring him right back.
Renee was saying Canes and Flyboys protocol postponed. Yep. Yeah, Rosca chiming in. What's up? What's up, Rosca? Pete saying agree to the poll. And what's up, Pete? Saying yo, fam. So happy to see everybody here tonight. Keep comments rolling in. Oh, Dan. Hey, boys, another boring Flyers talk. Well, I mean, the end of the day,
talk Canucks, but they're losing.
Yeah, I mean, we could be talking about how the Canucks are getting their ass whipped by the Florida Panthers right now. So
that to me would be boring.
But Maddie, do you think it should be more than Jay, i.e., Ivan Provorov?
I'm not against it. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I'm not against a rebuild. And the reason why is because you have younger players like a Cam York and a Carter Hart and stuff like that. They can be there for a rebuild. It's not like you have to give up on everybody. You just have to give up on the guys that are clearly not living up to what they were supposed to. And it may not be all Provorov's and Konechny's fault. Maybe because they were rushed right up to the big time and they weren't ready for it. And unfortunately, first-round picks, so you automatically assume, okay, they're not going to take nearly as much seasoning as, say, a second-rounder or a third-rounder or what have you. Sometimes you get that.
Cam York's looked quite good, though. York's looked quite good right in there. So I didn't want you to breeze right past that point without emphasizing it. Cam York has looked damn good. Continue.
You're right. You're absolutely right on that. But I think we rushed them both up. I mean, TK only had one season in the AHL before he came to the Flyers. Provy never spent a day in the AHL. He came right up to the team. I think we rushed them right onto the roster, and they weren't ready for big time. and they needed a few more years. I mean, hell, Giroux, it took them 2 years before he started seeing significant time on the Flyers, and that was 2008. Yeah, it was a different team back then, but still, they waited a couple of seasons before they put him onto the team and had him take up significant time and significant minutes in games. And even then, there was times where he would take a moment, slide down. That's just because they were taking their time with Giroux, and it was the smart thing to do to develop talent. They didn't immediately put Jeff Carter on the Flyers. He was down in the minors until 2007 because the team was so bad. They figured, fuck it, we'll throw him onto the team. Let's see what we got. And that's understandable to do that then too. It's like you can't rush talent. You can't rush them because you could damage them far worse by rushing them into the big time when they're not ready. And I think that that's what happened in my opinion.
And that was Hextall's plan, the criticized one this week. That was his plan, and he got overridden in a lot of those votes, and then outcasted.
Yeah,
I agree that TK was rushed. I don't know if Provy was because he has shown flashes that he can be a guy. Do I think he's the guy at the moment? No. But that doesn't mean that he can't still be that guy. He's like, I've been seeing a lot in the comments. They keep Provy because he's still young. Yeah, he's still young. So he's got that to his advantage. But the problem is if the Flyers try and trade anybody else right now, they don't have anybody of value. You don't have anybody that's going to bring back anything significant. So one of the things that you have to do is you look at yourself and be like, all right, who's productive right now? Provy's been a productive guy. G's been fairly productive.
Disagree with that, but go on.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking just overall.
No, I got you. Oh, in terms of like his value as a player, as a trade chip,
Yeah.
I mean, JVR has been streaking, looking like real strong. In past 2-3 games, that's a guy who you could maybe finally unload that contract for. Just throwing that out there, that would be advantageous for this team. But with Provy, unlike these other guys we're talking about, he had a hot start coming out, and the numbers have just precipitously fallen. I mean, I'll get into them if you want. I don't want you to lose your ultimate point because there's a lot of them.
Well, I mean, I want to get your guys' opinion because Jimmy from Flight Zone brought something to my attention, and I saw it scroll across the bottom, and I wasn't sure if I'm waiting for it to come back across. Okay, here we go. Multiple sources reporting Evander Kane signing with the Oilers.
Yeah, I read that earlier. Him and Jason were talking with them. Yeah.
Nobody paying attention to what this guy's doing.
They're a desperate hockey team right now, man. They are cold as ice.
What the fuck is wrong with him? Why would you go get Evander Kane at this point? The man is a walking controversy just waiting to happen. He is a PR fucking nightmare. Why would you put that cancer onto your fucking team? Listen, the only reason why the Sharks even kept him as long as they did was because he actually was behaving himself, we thought, and he was playing pretty well. Turns out, no, he wasn't behaving himself. Because he was racking up fucking gambling debts the whole time. But I mean, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, why? Why would you go get him at this point? What the fuck? Oh my god!
This Edmonton team is fairly young, and I mean, Evander Kane's not old, so he can be a productive player.
Oh, Panthers just scored again.
But here's the problem, and Matty pretty much hit the nail on the head. He's got too many off the ice issues. Mm-hmm. Too many. This isn't his gambling debts, which led to his contract being terminated, wasn't his first issue. There's a reason why he was traded from Buffalo.
Yeah, and traded
for the same reason.
Traded from Winnipeg too.
But I don't know. I don't know if that was an off the ice issue as much as it was. I think he just wanted out.
That's a good point. Yeah,
he's just not a good teammate. He's a selfish prick.
Yeah.
Oh, couldn't have said it any better, Rob.
But John's saying, gotcha. John saying, I keep Provy because he has shown how good he can be with a top-notch line mate. His season was doomed with Ryan Ellis's health. I mean, that's a good point. He also said that we're the third leg of a tripod. So thank you, John. It's good to know we're in your hearts.
We're a fucking tripod. That's a great quote. If you're quoting the movie, I think you're
I love
quoting.
that movie too. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I hear what John's saying, but this is a long-standing trend that I'm seeing with Provy that, he was drafted to be that top-notch guy, not to be paired with that top-notch guy. So that's my ultimate point, right? But either way, he can provide value. Yes, when Ryan Ellis is healthy, but if you looked in seasons past, let's go back 2 years ago when he had Niskanen, right? He had an I Corsi at 232. They had an IFF of 129. Compare that to currently this season, those numbers are at 98 and 62 right now. The shots way down, not really creating any offense. So, okay, well, maybe he's playing more defense. Right now, he's got 29 giveaways to 5 takeaways. He's on pace for 61 giveaways, which he hasn't had that many giveaways since his second season in this league. You know what I mean? Getting his beak wet. The hits have gone down. He's just not getting containment, letting guys go right around him on the edge. We saw that with Tomas Hertl in the Sharks game. Now, mind you, great player, fast, I get it, but just getting beat regularly in that game. But more importantly, missing defensive assignments in front of the net shows another mental lapse. This team is fundamentally flawed, and you need to make some moves now to work yourself up because you don't have that first-round draft pick. You traded that for Ristolainen, and while I feel Risto can be that piece for the future and help you move on in a Provorov-less world, the defense has been fundamental. It's been Band-Aids and cotton balls for 2 years, and I'm sick of it. You got to rehaul it. Something has to be done.
I'm with you 100%. 100%. Like I said, you gotta get value. You gotta give value to get value. And is Provorov still young enough to turn his career around? Absolutely. Is he having a rocky couple of years? Yeah.
But it's more than that, Brian. The past two seasons, he's had 120 hits. Right? He had 128 in 2017-18 alone. And in each respective season, this season, albeit a little more, almost close to the halfway point, and last season, he's been out-hit, like hits taken 40 to 45 times more than he's given out. I mean, that's just a pussy way to play the game. I hate to say it anyway. Apparently, I'm watching too much Cobra Kai, like I started off the show with. But it's time to nut up or shut up. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. But here's my rebuttal to that. It's not just Provorov though; it's the entire team, which is kind of what I'm trying to get at. And we've seen it just about most of the season this year, aside from like a few games here and there. Not beating out guys for pucks. They're not finishing their checks. They're not getting physical in the areas that they need to be physical. They're not hitting guys on the defensive side. They're not clearing out the front of the net. List goes on and on. But ultimately, I agree with you.
I mean,
they need to bring in players that get back to the fundamentals of playing not just defense, but hockey as a whole. Go ahead, Matty.
I would say this right now about where the Flyers are at. By the way, what's up, Chris?
Chris.
I would say at this point, the problem, and you talked about it, Brian, it starts at the top. This Flyers team has been circle jerking itself into an abyss for the better part of a decade now, and no one can argue against it. The proof has just been blatant. This team has refused for years to admit their problems, that they have dysfunction within the organization. They refuse to admit it, and they pretend that they know what they're doing. It's like, you clearly don't. Because if you're not even going to, as alluding to what Benny said, if you guys are arguing over a draft pick, then clearly we're not on the same page. That's not good. You need to be on the same page here. You need to all be able to have a plan, accept that plan, and move forward. If you're arguing with yourselves, how is this going to translate onto the ice? It's going to be chaos, and it's going to be a disaster.
Which
And
it
to
has
say-
been over the last 10 years.
Fantastic point. That's a fantastic point, Maddie.
Thank you. It's just been
Humble. Thanks. Yep, I know.
But it is, though. I mean, I just want to emphasize that. I'm on your jock tonight.
He's spot on. You know, when you
I
got
appreciate
your GM who's sitting there saying, I want one player, but you have another guy saying, hey, your draft room is saying, we need this player. This player is better than this player. Of course, at the time, we didn't know that. And he goes, no, we're taking this guy anyway. That's not a good thing. That's your scouting team and your GM and whatever Bob Clark is to the Flyers anymore. I don't even know. I lost track.
He was the senior advisor at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your senior. And your GM is pretty much saying, no, I'm taking this guy. It is a problem. Because that goes to show you he's not trusting what his team is telling him.
And let's forget the difference of, like, you know, Mocker being a stud and Patrick not. You know what I mean? Because hindsight is 2020, and it's real easy for Bobby Clark to say that now. But what the point that I'm getting from you guys, it's more just the not being wrong on the pick, but not being together on the pick.
Yeah. Because, I mean, here's the thing, like, how are we supposed to know Nolan Patrick was going to be an injured jumble of meh? I mean, no one can predict that. You know?
No, but they also were saying in his pre-scout before the draft that he does tend to get hurt. He is a little injury prone.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look at. And I will admit that maybe they should have given that a second thought or two. But at the same time, though, how are you supposed to know Cale Makar was going to be as good as he was? I mean, as great as he was. I mean, hell, what was it? Last year, he showed that's like, okay, maybe he is the best player in that draft class. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, there's still some time for other people in that draft to pop up and say, oh, holy shit, he was really good too the entire time. So, I mean, at the same token, though, you know, how are you supposed to predict that? You know, it's like you can't. But the dysfunction with the team is where the real issue is. It's like whether you go with Makar, and plus also, is Makar going to do the same thing on the Flyers that he's doing with the Avalanche? I bet you the Flyers would have rushed him and he would have been shit. Like, it just seems to be what the problem has been, is that you get the young talent and the Flyers rush them right up. And that's been killing a lot of the young talent because they're not always ready. It takes time. Maybe it would have happened to Cale Makar, you know?
Let's be real. Let's talk about what we've seen so far from Makar. Norris Trophy finalist.
Hey, Don Don.
Pretty sure he won the Calder. What's up, Don Don? Just an abundance of offense, creativity, can play the complete 200 game. Now let's look at Nolan Patrick.
Well, I think Benny's Nation summed it up. Maybe you don't know about Makar, but who's actually excited about Patrick?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, at the time, it was great because he was projected to be the number 2 overall.
Yeah, and that's also
a good power forward. He had a good first year. But if we're looking at right now,
it was bad. Yeah, but
could have gone in a number of different ways and been successful with Elias Pettersson, Miro Heiskanen, Cale Makar.
You're right. You're right on that, but at the same time, it's like also when you're in that spot in the draft, how many times have we always said you take the best player available to you or the player that's on the board that's rated at that certain spot?
Yeah.
Almost all the teams do it. So the Oilers did it for years. They made that bad pick with Nail Yakupov. Didn't stop them from picking that in the top part of the round. It didn't make them go, ooh, we need to get fancy with this next one. It's like, no, we're going to pick the best player available to us at this time. Flyers are just following the normal formula.
Because you're spot on there, Matty. Because when you're in the first round, if you're in the top, and it depends on how deep the class is. Like if you're within the top, let's say 12, you're taking best available, especially inside that top 10. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that guy who's going to change a franchise. Now, keep in mind, initial reports coming out of that draft class was there was no real franchise changers.
Mm-hmm.
How wrong were they?
Very wrong, apparently.
Nico Herscher is doing a pretty damn good job with the Devils.
Haskinen's doing pretty
We know
well for
Kel McCarr.
Dallas.
We know Heiskanen with Dallas has been just absolutely ridiculous. Elias Pettersson is a franchise changer in Vancouver. They just got to build around them a little bit more. And I think they finally have a good coach for him with Bruce Boudreau. But, scouts can only do so much. I get it. You got to draft off of what they give you. And everything else is going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
But to sit here and say that the Flyers are sitting there fighting the GM to get a certain player, but the GM's like, nah, I'd rather have Nolan Patrick. That says there's a lot of what's the word here? Dysfunction in this organization. More than I think we initially thought.
I mean, to be honest, you could go back to the days of Paul Holmgren and you could talk about his issues in terms of his problems with Ed Snyder. Snyder was constantly on his ass about things, and that led Paul Holmgren to going in certain directions. And then on top of it as well, Holmgren then tried to double down on them and screwed himself over a little bit more, and then on top of it, then you bring in Hextall, and we all know what we're talking about when it comes to that, the dysfunction that continues there. And to say that there's probably dysfunction now, there probably is. I don't think that it's as simple and straightforward as it was. I think that they're having issues up there as well right now.
Speaking of issues, you good over there, Rob?
No, well, first of all, I applauded Priz's picture that he just sent us in the chat, but also, too, I forgot to turn this light off, and normally I thought it would look bad on the camera, but it kind of makes Gritty look like on fire right now, so I'm leaving it on, actually.
Oh, yeah, Gritty's all lit up.
Jesse saying Patrick skated like he had to shit. He was a bust, obviously. Hi, Jesse. By the way, the logo beside Jesse's name, that means he is an A2D member. So if you want to get in on A2D memberships, definitely a good idea to do so. There are a lot of perks that come with it. It's $9.99 a month, but you can get appearances on shows, members-only streams, shout-outs, weekly sports picks, and the Money Pop podcast and Willie Vegas. And trust me, those guys at the end of the day, they know what they're talking about. And then you could get paid for being a member, basically. Because all you got to do is just put that money off to the side and say, okay, place this here, place that there. They know what they're talking about. You'll make that money back.
Pretty much. Yeah, you're paying $9.99 a month. But if you use the picks and you play right, it's NFL playoffs. The best time to start putting some bets together. You can head over to FanUp. And you win some money back. You just throw 10 over there, put the rest of the money away, throw another 10 over there. You're winning money being an A2D member, baby. Let's go. Sign up. Let's go. Speaking of, Benny's Nation doesn't seem to be a member anymore. Priz doesn't seem to be a member anymore, but Priz at least has an excuse. I need to know Benny's.
He's been working. Yeah.
Sign it up.
Chris is working 2 jobs, so this poor man he's working all the time.
Bryce, I thought you were a member too, bro. Wow.
Jim and Fluss saying Hextall's record in Pittsburgh.
Dale's just calling everybody out, being like, yo, motherfuckers, get back on the train.
Get back on the train. Come on.
Jim and Fluss saying Hextall's record in Pittsburgh, 52-20-7. You have to admit, since he went to Pittsburgh last year, they have been winning at a regular clip. Well, I'm not saying that him going to Pittsburgh was a bad thing for the Penguins. I don't think it was a bad thing for him at all. I still don't think that Hexy being in Philadelphia was a bad thing, because I think what he was trying to do was essentially the right thing, which was restock the shelves, because we didn't have a farm system at that point. We had nobody down there besides maybe 1 or 2 players. And that was, in theory, the right thing to do. Yeah, they were arguing over draft picks, but Ron Hextall wanted to build the team from within. He didn't want to go and make a bunch of trades. And then from what this dysfunction was, obviously, I think now that this has come out, I think the whole Hackstool thing is a smokescreen now. I don't think it was Hackstool that got Hexy fired. I think it was they were looking for a reason, and they had the perfect scapegoat to get rid of him. Yes, that's a conspiracy theory, but I'm going to follow that one, and I'm going to go down that rabbit hole because you know what, honestly, would it be out of the realm of possibilities that Holmgren saw his opportunity and said, he won't fire Hack after I told him to. He's fired. It didn't take him long to fire his ass after that. It didn't take him long. So I think that there might be a little bit more to it.
Matt Tsutsuni, the Tucker Carlson of ATV Radio.
I've been called worse things.
But yeah, it's not. I mean, Ron Hextall, it was never about him being a bad general manager because he wasn't. He put some good teams together. It's just after everything that's come out over the last, we'll say 24 hours, makes me kind of wonder whether or not his player analysis was on point. Because if you think about it, and again, this could be dysfunction from even higher up, because I saw Antonio say that one thing that needs to be fixed for certain is ownership. And I'm at the point where I agree. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's not that he can't put together a team. It's just his player analysis for the guys that he drafted for the Flyers just didn't pan out. Like I said, again, I don't think Proby's a terrible player by any stretch. Has he regressed? Yeah. Can he turn his career around? Absolutely. Can TK? Absolutely. These guys are still young enough to do that. Can Couturier? Yeah. Although, again, not a Hextall guy, but my point is.
But I will say this. Coots started turning himself around because he wasn't playing all that well for a while until Hackstall got there. Kind of funny, though, that it turns out maybe that was the coach to develop some of those younger players, maybe not to be a competitive team. Maybe that's why he was there. Maybe that was a big plan in his idea of we're going to have a college coach to try and get the young guys ready to go. And then at the same time, when it's time for us to really compete, we'll go get another coach. Maybe there was something to do with that. Maybe he really was thinking that long ahead. I don't know. That's another conspiracy theory.
He could have been. I mean, he could have been trying to match up these players with the system that Hackstall had. And let's be real. TK played pretty well under the system. So did Couturier. I thought Provorov played pretty well under the system as well. And this is kind of the other reason why I want to get out of having all these Philly guys, these Flyer guys, out of here. And by the way, Don, I'm threatening nobody. I threaten nobody. I just want people to win some money. That's what I want. I want y'all to win some money.
Join A2D or else.
Yes. Now we're threatening. No, I'm just kidding. This is just Ed.
We want you.
The Uncle Sam of A2D.
This team is there's just a pure dysfunction. It really is. It's just pure dysfunction. And like I get what the organization is trying to do, but I think they're going about it all wrong.
And
the one thing I don't agree with is I don't think the Kate Smith statue has anything to do with this because they were mediocre while they still had it. So I don't want to hear about that damn statue anymore. Because that was a mediocre team when they had it.
That I don't think that had anything to do with that. But.
No, but a lot of people think that's a curse. But I'm just
Terry should spend less time on Facebook and Twitter and pull some people and money around, and let's have Chris Therien buy the Flyers if he knows how to run them so better. You know what I mean?
I can offer $11. That's about all I can offer for the Flyers.
Hey, every penny counts.
Oh, do a damn good job.
We'll start up a GoFundMe. Let's go. I'm not being serious though, Terry. You know what I mean? Like I know you said you want to bring in former players to the organization. I'm still on board for bringing Rick Taka here, but that's a topic for another day. But I'm just saying, in reference to this point, Terry come in, right? Do you want to change the ownership first before you start maneuvering or making changes in your roster, in your lineup, in your system overall? Like, what do you think is more important to address? Ownership first, then that? Or should they maybe making these trades to build and then go find ownership?
Well, unfortunately, I think they're going to be making the trades first and working on tweaking the roster before anything else happens. Honestly, I don't think Comcast Spectacor is going to be selling at any point.
No.
Do they need to? Yes.
They're not, and I don't think they're even going to change managers for the organization anytime soon either.
No. But the fan base sees it. I'm beginning to see it. I used to think that was such a cop-out of an excuse for a team to be a losing team or mediocre team. I kind of still kind of do, but in that same breath, when you have Ed Snyder and his family, pretty much, they had a specific culture here. They did. I was reading a story, I forget who it was saying, at the end of games, especially after a win, Ed Snyder would walk down to the locker room, go around the entire locker room, shake everybody's hand, tell them they had a great game. Do you think anybody from Comcast Spectacor is doing that?
No, because they're a faceless corporate entity. They don't care.
I'm going to go back to something that I said earlier, and I'm sure a lot of the guys listening in have heard this. Maddie, they didn't even recognize his birthday.
Yeah,
they said nothing about it, and they were home.
That's pretty
Philly.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
His daughter said something on Twitter about it, like, how does my father run an organization for as long as he did, as well as he did, and after passing away and somebody else taking over, not even mention my dad's birthday?
Even
He brought the Flyers into Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's not like just he was just a random owner. They wouldn't be there without him.
Yeah, he was the founder of the Flyers organization. Even worse, it's like that's beyond a fail. But doesn't that describe the Flyers organization in a nutshell? It really does. It's the guy It's the guy who can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Just constantly smacks his face onto the pavement, and all his teeth are just falling out. It's literally that kind of an organization right now. And
it comes off as classless, but it's really clueless.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also I think Anthony does say greedy as well, which he's not wrong. He's not wrong on that either. If you see the way Comcast buys up these networks and everything these days, I could definitely agree with that. God damn, Florida's up 5-1. I don't want to necessarily
say they're greedy, but I will say that they are more worried about turning a profit than putting a good product out on the ice.
Which makes sense. And,
let's break it down. Let's break it down on the most simple level, right? How often does your Comcast bill go up a month?
I don't have Comcast.
They're fucking greedy corporate monsters. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
I'm not disagreeing. I felt like I needed to phrase it a little bit better for myself.
I see. So, his comment here, his paragraph is his essay. Hey guys, all the crap we see on the ice the last 6 years goes to ownership. The ownership is the first issue that needs to be fixed. There are articles about how they treat the alumni like shit and want nothing to do with the past, hence no more Kate Smith. Tarian blasted ownership as incompetent. Until the corporate climate is fixed, nothing will change. Thoughts? Well, here's the thing. With the ownership, unfortunately, the family that did have the remaining piece of the ownership, they sold it to Spectacor after Ed Snyder passed away. Unfortunately, I don't see that changing anytime soon. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I think the Flyers are going to become the Phillies of the NHL if this keeps going. And
you watch your mouth.
Listen, I cannot say
I'm out. I'll pull down the banner right now.
I'm saying this in full respect and love to the Phillies because I come from a huge family of Phillies fans, and I know A2D, most of us here, with the exception of Mr. Povia, are Phillies fans for the most part.
Fuck the Mets. Sorry, tickle.
But the Phillies are the most losingest team in baseball. So, I mean, there is
facts.
Yeah.
You are absolutely spot on saying that, by the way. But you shut your dirty whore mouth. You're talking about my Phillies like that.
Listen, I'm not trying to shit on them. I was trying to be respectful about it. I was just stating something we all know.
They are though. They are the losingest team in baseball history, unfortunately.
And the reason why I bring that up is they are actually a publicly owned team. They're corporately owned. They're not a privately owned team.
Right.
And that's why I bring it up, because you can run the risk of the Flyers becoming that with a corporate entity that really isn't going to bring in the right people. Now, don't get me wrong. Phillies did bring in the right people that set up 2008. So it's not that they've never done it. It's just that, does it happen all the time? No. So there is a bit of a concern with that. At least in my opinion, there's a bit of a concern with that. That's why I just brought it up. What do you guys feel on that?
You're right. There's no you can't make them an offer they can't refuse, because they'll refuse any offer. Like, you know what I mean? When you're a nationally owned company, you make a great point there. Like, I didn't get that comparison at first, but you're exactly right in terms of the Philadelphia Phillies and the Philadelphia Flyers now. Because you take, like, for example, like, you know, tying it back to, say, you know, you want to bring up the Mets, the Wilpons owned that team forever and didn't have to sell at all, but eventually individuals are going to get to a point where it's time for them to move on. And then you have a Steve Cohen to come in and rebuy it and reflush it and bring that the money spending and the new energy that you need, you know, the different direction that the organization deserves. It's harder to do that when you're owned by a corporate entity. Sure.
Absolutely. Real quick before I give my thoughts on this. John, you're looking for a new hockey team? Come on, bro. I will never steer you wrong. Come to the West Side.
Okay. And I'm going to say this right now. Flyers fans or not, I'm still not. I will never abandon my team. I will own it. I don't care. If it's my team for life. I'm not going to jump ship because of the situation. Just saying.
I don't think they're being serious. I just think they're messing around.
I know.
I mean, let's be real, John. Yeah.
There's been worse days than this as a Flyers fan. You all know that to be true.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's listed off a pretty good cast of characters there in Dallas that are going to go, you know, they're going to do their thing. Dallas is a playoff team. Let's be real. Let's talk about Trevor Siegrist, who is an absolute stud in the NHL. Then you have Mason McTavish, who's an up-and-comer. Oh, and then you have Jonathan Gibson, he's the top 10 goalie in the league. And behind him, you got Lucas Dostal. So there's future in the goaltending there. And Anthony Stolarz, Jersey boy. Let's talk about the defense real quick. You got Hampus Lindholm, who's in the top 20. You have Cam Fowler, who's in the top 20. You have Josh Manson, who's on the way out, but he's still a solid defenseman. No, you see, that's what I'm talking about. John even said I'm not trading on my Flyers. I knew he wasn't going to, but if he does,
I know.
I'm your boy, Johnny. I ain't gonna steer you wrong, bro. You know me. You know it.
Now, I will say this though, John. There is a loophole. You can have a West team. There's nothing wrong with having a West team because it doesn't really conflict with your Eastern team. So if your West team becomes the Ducks, hey, you didn't break the rules. You just added a West team. I added a West team in high school. I added the Sharks. So I'm just saying. Doesn't have to be your number one.
But why does it feel cold?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Maybe because I mentioned the Sharks. Might be because I mentioned the Sharks. But
no, this might be where I'm sitting. I'm sitting underneath the ceiling fan, so it's probably just circulating before it comes down. But
That's the cold that's coming from hell freezing over that we're going to become Ducks fans, Brian.
Well, I already pulled you to the dark side, Rob, and you can't even sit here and deny it. You said it last week. I pulled you to the dark side, you son of a bitch.
That's true.
For some Giroux and Atkinson to Dallas for Sagan and Radulov. Sagan gets her all the time. I don't know about that. I'll take Radulov though.
Yeah, but Radulov will quit on you.
That's a good point. Yeah. Never mind. Maybe this isn't a great deal. Fuck you, Chris.
I'd rather younger talent or picks. If you're going to trade Jake, get the younger talent or picks.
No, I
You know what
got you.
mean? To revamp your core. You know what I mean? Because you can bring in some different young blood to surround, Joel Farabee and Wade Allison and build with Cam York and take the team in a totally different direction. Morgan Frost right now. You could do that right now. That's why I'm saying, when Brian started the show off saying that, this is going to be totally anti what you've heard from me. And you read my mind, brother, because that's exactly where I've been as well. But now is the time. It's like you got to recognize this. Just like if you're a stockbroker, you recognize a trend, you got to go. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
And I believe that, and I'm going to stand behind that until the end of the season and see what they do in the off season and kind of go from there. I mean, are the Flyers out of the playoff spot? No, they're not out of the play. They're not out of the playoffs mathematically yet. But
ironically, yes.
Are they?
That's funny.
Yes. John, I love you too, brother.
But
I get it.
Sorry. I totally agree with your point, and it sounds like I'm laughing at your point, but I read some of these comments that the fan puts out, man, and it's like, this just brightens my day.
But this is the reason why I love John.
I'm always tired as fuck coming into the show, and then you guys just lighten my life. Except Dan. Dan just sucks my energy. Bro.
That's
this
true.
Is family right here.
That's true. Only family can, say rooting for the Ducks is like wearing dinosaur pajamas to bed.
And I will say, though, me and John do look like we actually could be brothers.
Hey, there you go.
If I grew my beard out and I shaved my head like he does, that'd be...
You wouldn't look like Sarah Jessica Parker?
No. No, not at all. Not that I think I look like her now, but apparently that's a conversation for another day. But anyway.
Listen, I just have to get the fam going so that way they start throwing out those comments.
They're going to throw them out anyway. They were anything I say, they start throwing shit my way, but it's fine.
Yeah. So I'll be the starter pistol.
The Flyers, reeling it back in here, the Flyers just have so many issues right now, and again, like I said at the beginning of the show, it starts at the top. It starts with the ownership.
Yeah.
They have to get that right.
Damn.
Otherwise,
it's
going to last a long time.
Dan was saying, what are the chances of the Coyotes moving to Quebec, giving Arizona got arena pay problems? Not likely. They're not going. The NHL, Gary Bettman has stated this multiple times. They are not going to Quebec. And then on top of it, if the Coyotes do wind up moving, they're going to move to another Western market. I don't think they want to try and do another realignment where they have to move one team from the East to the West and then move another West team to the East. I don't think they want to do that. They just got done doing the expansion. So if they got to do a relocation, it's going to be another Western market.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They want to keep things even. 32. You got, I don't know the math, but what is it, 16 and 16? Simple math. I don't know simple math. Shut up.
32 divided by 2.
Shut the fuck up. It would just make more sense. I mean, obviously they want to keep them in Arizona. They're planning different scenarios out to keep them there. Are they going to be out of Glendale? More than likely. But do they move to Quebec? I would love to see it. But do I think it's going to happen? No. But you know what is happening, though? Vancouver's getting spanked 5-1 last I saw.
I love it. You just hit the subtle jab. Well, not so subtle. You just come in with the hook right out there towards the end.
Hey, he comes to me a lot harder than I come at him. So
that's true. That's true. Dan does do that. Yeah.
That's why we keep Dan around.
That's true. Moira, what's up, Moira? Saying, fellas, let's fucking go. Rob, disappointed your promo for tonight did not include the suit and tie.
I was a little upset too.
Totally slumming it today. I'll make up for it next week.
Promise. All right, then. So, I forgot to give my answer to this. So, my answer for this, I'm going to say agree, but not because of the reasons that everybody else has been saying. I want him to win a cup. I know he's not going to do it with the Flyers. It pains me to say it, but this man deserves it. If anyone ever fucking deserved to win a cup, it's Giroux. And it's like, you know what? Let's just put him on a team that's going to get it to him. Somebody that will actually be competitive and could conceivably win a cup this year. Just put him on the team. And maybe even if not this year, then maybe in the next couple of years that he can re-sign with at a lower price tag, but at least he'll get his cup. You know?
So you're saying this is trade and, Godspeed for your career. That's how you're taking it. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I would love for him to stick around, for him to go through all of this, to come out on the other side with a cup. It'd be a great story, probably be the greatest story in Flyers history. But unfortunately, I don't see it happening that way, unfortunately. This organization's got way too many problems, and I said it last week. I'll say it this week. Giroux didn't fail the Flyers. Flyers failed him. Mm-hmm. This organization failed him completely at every turn. Had a God-given talent dropped in your lap, literally dropped in your lap because 06 was the year he was drafted, so there was no season. 05. And you got Claude Giroux, and he's been one of the best players the Flyers have had since the days of Eric Lindros and John LeClair. And
could probably say better.
Yeah, you can even say that. And they never put a team around him. Never put an actual team around him. They just kept trying to do the same bullshit they've been doing for years. And they thought they could get away with it. Nope. You couldn't get away with it. Not this time. Not this time.
It's just, I agree. They failed Giroux. They failed to put talent around him to really fit his style of play. And despite that, and I know a lot of people don't like G because of his lackluster playoff production, which I can understand. G in the regular season was to the levels of Patrick Kane, Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby. Say what you want. His numbers were there for 10 years. He was up there with the top 4 guys in the league. Yeah, I mean, granted, again, the playoff runs weren't great. But that's also up to your general manager to sit there and say, what do we need for G to succeed? What do we need for this other player to succeed? What do we need? This is where the dysfunction really starts to set in. Mm-hmm. Now, I do agree. We're probably talking a couple years too late on the G move. But because of the no movement clause, because of the cap hit that he has on his contract, it's tough to move a guy like that. It's easier now because teams don't have to worry about it as much as a long-term thing. Mm-hmm. Then it's Claude Giroux. Yeah, we'll take him. He's a year rental. Do we have the space for him? Yeah, let's get him. And then because his cap hit will come down next year.
Yeah,
and he's not making 8. Was it 8.5 next year? There's no way he's signing for a contract like that.
And I mean, the worst goes worse. You could always, if you want to keep him around, if he's productive for you, you can sign him at a lower price tag. So it's not the end of the world if you want to keep him around for maybe a couple of years or what have you. If he feels like he's good to play there,
Yeah, I mean, we know G's a great playmaker. You never gave him a legit sniper. And the one guy you did give him, he had 103 points that season. What's that tell you?
Right.
And most of the people's griefs, and again, I get it, came in the playoffs.
I just think there's a creative way where you can dish them for now, create a lot of those pieces, develop your other pieces that are like that, and then bring them right back into the fold. You know what I mean? Like, even if that is after like a season, if he does sign cheaply, to Maddie's point, or as soon as signing him back directly for next year. I mean, either way that works. You bring him back and immediately, you have a decision whether you want to, return the seat to him or not. Chances are you would if it's just picking up directly for next season. Maybe a season or two after that, if he wants to wrap up and finish his career in Philadelphia, then you just bring him in as like that third line veteran, that grizzled veteran that maybe gives you that final piece after you have rebuilt to, make a nice cup run. So there's a lot of different ways you can handle this. It's going to take creativity. We'll see if Chuck and the team have it.
Yeah. We got a new old member here.
And he's
old, new, old. New.
He's all back. He's back.
He's like, oh, shit, man. Daddy forgot to pay the electric bill. All right, I got this. Boom. I've been there before, my friend. I've been there before many times over, Ben.
Joey DiBardino. Yes. Joey DiBardino earlier said, like, only you could be an A2D member. And so what's up, Joe? And that was funny. But John's saying, I don't want him to move on to win like I wanted Chemo. I just want him to officially start this rebuild. I mean...
I'll rephrase it to restart because, let's be real, it never stopped.
Yeah.
They got lucky. They got on a couple of really good runs every other year to get into the playoffs. But
yeah,
it's also the division wasn't as good then as it is now.
Yeah, the division has gotten even 10 times worse than it did 5 minutes ago. And saying Gene didn't step up for the Flyers when he has to. Stat wise, yes, not by example, stepping up when he has to in a big games. That's not true. There's plenty of times where Giroux has tied a game up and we needed a goal. There's plenty of times where Giroux has been the guy who scored a goal at a clutch moment. Unfortunately, I can agree. Did it always happen in the playoffs? Maybe not. Maybe not. However, though, there was a time in the playoffs he did. That was in that Game 6 when he put Crosby on his ass and he scored that goal on Fleury. So there are times where Giroux did step up and score big. Unfortunately, did they ever put players around him to continue those kind of habits? No. They put players around him, if anything, that conflicted with his style. Talk about Jake.
What it is though, Matty, is that it's recency bias. And recency, he's failed more than he's succeeded in the playoff games, in those key games or whatnot. And it's been a lot of like missing the shots, wide right of the post, over the crossbar, instead of getting him on net like he was doing more in his career. In those clutch moments, overall, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah. And I think also a little bit of it too, and this is maybe possible, but I could be wrong. It could be because also maybe G was just like, come on, I got to score here. Maybe he was getting in his head a little bit. Maybe. Maybe he knew that the pressure was on, and it was on him because he was the captain of this team. And it's tough in a playoff situation. And also, it's very hard when you're facing off with teams that are 10 times better than you, and you got to try and win a series against that team. And if you're the best player on that team and the team's not playing well, now you got to score 50 goals a night just for them to win a game. Kind of hard to do that, and there were plenty of playoff times where that happened. Let's go back to that Washington series. Flyers were shit against Washington during that series. And the only reason they won one game was because of an accidental goal that went off somebody's skate on the Capitals and wound up in the back of their net. And the Flyers won Game 5 by the skin of their teeth and then lost Game 6. And it's like, wow, we really should have lost that series in 5. But, it is what it is.
Well, and that's the thing, too, Matty, is you can't just put, I get it. He's going to get the blame anyway because he's wearing the captaincy. But how many times have we seen Chicago is really taking it to Columbus right now? It's 3-1 midway through the third. We've seen this team completely just disappear and come to playoffs. Wait, who did they play where they got swept and in 4 games scored 2 goals? Was that against Pittsburgh? Or was that a Washington series?
That was Boston, if you're thinking. Because 2011 was the year that we got swept by them.
This was fairly recent.
Fairly recent. We didn't get swept. Well, we did lose. Did we lose the series? We lost the series in 5 to the Devils in 2012.
That wasn't it.
No. We lost in 7 against the Rangers. Lost in 6 against the Capitals.
They got swept by somebody. I think it was Washington, where they only managed to. It was either Washington or Pittsburgh, where they managed to only score 2 goals in the entire series. They got shut out twice. So to put all the blame, like I can understand the frustration and wanted to put some blame on G. Like G's got to step up. Of course, yeah, I'm with you. I'm behind you 100%. But we also got to place the blame everywhere else too. We got to point fingers at guys that aren't just Claude Giroux.
And we also got to point the finger at the organization too.
It was Washington 2016. Thanks, Johnny.
Oh, okay. And then Benny's Nation, he was simply saying, I could barely get through this with all the tears in my eyes from Bryan yelling at me. And saying,
I wasn't yelling.
What could we get back in your Giroux trade? A first, which would be late 20s, a second, and a prospect? Is that a possible return or too much? I think that if it's a late 20s first, I don't think anyone's going to complain. They're not going to give you a top, obviously, and no team that's competitive is going to have a top. So I don't think you
get a decent pick. This is going to be a pretty good draft here, and in that late 20s there.
I mean, that doesn't sound out of the realm of possibilities there.
See, what I would go for, and this is just me, because Drew still does have value. What I would do is a high draft pick, an NHL ready player, and a prospect. You could probably get a little bit more, but I'm not a greedy person. And
I am.
I was waiting for somebody to chime in. Because if you look at my NHL B Pro, yes, I'm going there. Because I just made 2 pretty good deals today. I don't give up too much and ask for too much, mainly because, quite frankly, the computer is not that smart and doesn't know a good NHL trade when you put one together. But I got Hendrix Lapierre in deal, traded a 2nd-round pick to get him, and the kid's gonna be really good. So I forget where I'm going with this. I'm starting to ramble now. Giroux, I think you can get a nice haul. For me, I want at least a 1st or 2nd-round pick for him. I want an NHL ready player or a vet, and I want I guess the middle end prospect. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's a pretty good haul in return for Claude.
Throw in a 2nd lower pick, and now we're talking. I'll take a 1st. I'll take like a 3rd or a 4th, and that gritty veteran to take his place on the squad now, and the prospect.
Maybe you can even throw one of that 3rd pick. You can have it be a conditional pick where it goes to a 2nd round if the team makes the playoffs and Giroux's played a significant amount of time.
Like it.
Free delivery on Grubhub.
What's this?
John saying he'd trade Giroux for free delivery on Grubhub for like 3 months.
God damn, you're selling real low.
Hey.
I mean, Gator, how can you say that he's only had one really great year? He was statistically up there with Kane, Crosby, and Ovechkin for 10 years.
It's okay
He's 2nd in the franchise in points. He's what number 1 in power play points? Like, how do you sit there and say he's only had one great year?
It's okay because all this hatred for Giroux, they'll realize that they're wrong several years from now when Giroux's not here and this team is just dog shit. And they realize, maybe Giroux wasn't that bad. Yeah, maybe he wasn't. Maybe that pick that we got that year that was, number 2 overall that year in that draft? Maybe that wasn't a bad pick after all these years. Gator saying, where are the cups, though? That's not on Giroux. That's on the organization. But anyway.
Hang on. How many great players in the NHL have had great... Sorry, let me start over because he's got me going.
Yeah.
Gator, I hope you're doing well, by the way.
Yes.
How many players in the NHL have had great careers but never won a cup? A lot. It doesn't make him any less great than somebody who's won a cup, because this team has been mediocre for 10 years. Henrik Lundqvist is a Hall of Famer. How many cups did he win?
0.
John Leclerc, considered one of the greatest scorers in Flyers history. How many cups did he win?
1, but not with the Flyers, with Montreal, and he was a minor player at the time.
Touche.
But he was a minor player, not a major. He played an important part, but he wasn't considered a goal scorer until he came to Philadelphia.
Did Madonna ever win a cup with the Stars? Was he still with them when they got Brett Hull?
Yeah, he had one.
99.
So
he was on the team. Yep.
Right, but he easily could have went cupless as well. And you're talking about another great player.
Roenick.
Roenick,
yeah. Primo.
Roenick never won one.
He didn't win one with the Blackhawks? No.
No.
They didn't,
He was on the team that faced Pittsburgh that got its ass kicked in the early 90s.
Right. Because they had a drought till like that. That was when Kane and Taves like overcame their drought. Yeah. All right.
I mean, not a position player, but let's talk about Henrik Lundqvist. How great was he? He's a bona fide Hall of Famer. He never won a cup, unfortunately.
It
doesn't always work out for guys, is kind of what I'm saying. But that doesn't take away from a player's greatness. That doesn't take away from a player's legacy. I'm going to throw out Paul Kariya out there. He never won a cup. He was a great player. Unfortunately, his career was cut short. Brittamore won a cup. What do you mean?
He won it with the Hurricanes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to bring that up too, Robbie. Wasn't Mike Modano on one of the Red Wings teams when they won the cup? And what was it?
I think he went to the Red Wings latter, like when the Red Wings were no longer getting to the final. Because I think he was on the team around the same time Alfredson was.
Mike Modano was a Red Wing? When the hell did that happen? I turned that out of my memory, I think.
He's the end of his career, yeah.
It was one season. Yeah. Him and Alfredson, they were both trying to get cups because Alfredson, another great player, never got his hands on the cup.
Gator.
Great one.
My guy. Appreciate you. Always.
You took the Dan Marino route. Fair enough.
I did.
And Ant saying Pat LaFontaine never got his hands on a cup.
A lot of great players have never won a cup. A lot of great, but it doesn't take away from their legacy as a great player. Briere. And John brought up Briere too, saying that he was inconsistent with the regular, which he was.
He was. Yeah.
He was clutch in the playoffs, similar to the way Justin Williams was. But Justin Williams has like 7 cups. I don't know how, but he wound up with like 7.
He's Mr. Game 7. What are you gonna do? You can't argue with that.
Unfortunately, some players just carry that reputation where so and so disappears in the playoffs. So and so really shows up in the playoffs. So and so don't play in Game 7 because he's just gonna fuck you over.
Oh, here's another good one.
Oh, damn.
Joe Thornton never won a cup.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Matt Sundin, the Sedin twins, Alexander McGillney. These names. Wait, wasn't McGillney? Didn't McGillney win one with the Devils?
I thought he was on the Devils when they won a cup in the early. Was it? Wait, was he on the one in the 90s, or was he the one on the 90s or in the early 2000s?
I want to say he was the one in the 90s because I don't think he won it. He wasn't on the team in 2003 or 2001. I want to say
2000. It was the year 2000.
It was
because they beat Dallas that year.
Yeah, that's the year Sikora got hurt, and
Jason Arnott scored the OT winner to win it.
Man, what a game that was!
Yeah, what a game! Would have been nice if Dallas had won.
But yeah, I mean, like the examples continue on, and I wasn't trying to like put Gator on blast. I love Gator. I appreciate Gator for chiming in with us every week and talking hockey. We love it.
Yeah, it was you guys are talking the 99-2000 season, right? Is that when they won the cup? Yeah. It was his first year with the Devils. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so McGillney does have one. I thought he had one.
Yeah.
And then
Lindros in '97 finals. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a letdown. Lindros had a great playoff until the final. Him and Leclerc, Renberg, they disappeared. I mean, hell, the whole team disappeared during that time. Hextall was a shell of himself and
they were just out of gas at that point.
Yeah. And also, I think another thing, too, and I actually said this to Rob one time on the way back from one of the shows, I think what also hurt that team was they didn't have a tough series. You go through that entire run, they breezed through the Eastern Conference because they swept through the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals. They beat Buffalo in 5, and then they beat Pittsburgh in 5. So it's like, but Detroit had to beat Colorado, and that was a nasty series. I think that series crowned the champion right there because Flyers didn't have a nasty series. If they had a series that went 7, maybe they would have had a better shot because maybe they would have been more prepared and would have taken it more seriously. I think they just breezed right through and they got caught completely off guard by the fact that the Red Wings stoned them dead in their tracks.
I mean, similar to what Anaheim did in 2003, but didn't the Flyers do it in 97 where they wound up facing nothing but pretty much top-tier teams? They played what?
No.
I don't remember the specific order. But didn't they wind up playing teams in their division? Didn't they play Devils, Rangers, and who the hell did they play? Who the hell did they play in the Eastern Conference Finals that year?
What, the Flyers?
Yeah.
Oh, they faced the Penguins in the first round, so a division opponent. They played the Sabres in the next round, not division opponent, and then they played the Rangers, another division opponent in the Eastern Conference Finals.
It wasn't okay. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's not bad for an old guy in a bad memory.
And Gator does bring up a good point, though. Is he was saying Gretzky was past his prime on that team, and he was. Him and Messier, they were starting to show their age during that time period. And then Messier went on to ruin the Vancouver Canucks right after that. So there you go.
I mean, can't remember any. Sorry, I got to take a shot at Dan real quick, and then
go for it.
I'll can't remember any great Ducks players. I mean, you have Paul Kariya, you have Teemu Selanne, you have Scott Niedermayer. You can throw Chris Pronger out there for a year. You have Steve Ruchin, you have Guy Bear, you have J.S. Jaguar. Should I continue on? That's 7 right there.
Would you throw Beauchemin in there?
You could throw Beauchemin in there.
I always liked Beauchemin's name. I always wanted him on the team just because of his name.
I liked him better in his first stint with the Ducks than I liked him with the second. Ryan Getzlaf. Corey Perry. Should I continue?
Would you is Siegrist on this list? Or does he have to prove it more?
He's got to prove it a little bit more. He's still a little young.
What about Bobby Dallas?
He's got mad respect for Diallo. Yeah. Okay, Ant. Yeah, good. Let's throw Rob Niedermayer in there. I got no problem throwing Rob Niedermayer in there.
Yeah, Rob Niedermayer was good as well. I mean, he
fuck off.
Another question would be: will Jamie Drysdale be on this list?
I think so.
He could.
Maybe him. Maybe Trevor Siegrist. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But you see, here's the thing. Look at the Ducks. Look at the Ducks.
Sergei Fedorov. Sorry, I got really excited.
Sergei Fedorov.
Adam Oates. Adam Oates was another one.
Adam Oates was a very underrated player. There's a reason why so many teams got him because he was one of the best assisters in the league during his day. Flyers had him. The Capitals. Yes. You know, he was on the Flyers. He was on the Capitals. He was on the Ducks. He was on a few teams. I think he was on the Penguins too. Bruins. That was the team. Yep.
Bruins,
yep.
Yeah.
Very good player.
Did you say Capitals because he was a Capital too.
He was a Capital. Yep. And he never won a cup. Adam Oates never won one either. Yeah, he just had, all those teams he was on. He always missed their playoff. He always missed their cup runs.
That's almost a kind of that we kind of circled around to almost a direct comparison to Giroux. Good face-off man, good assists. Like, you know, you can see similarities between him and Oates. Also a guy that never really stepped up in the prime, when the lights were the brightest.
Renee saying Bobby Clark let Hexy have it in some podcast this morning, blames him for everything. I mean, listen, first off, I would love to ask, but I'm going to say this now. Bobby Clark's the greatest Flyer that ever played. But what did he do in the front office that was so phenomenal? How many cups did he win as GM? About fucking 0. And how many great players did he bring in with no salary cap to try and make that happen? And how many times did they pull that off? 0. So it's like, Bobby, shut up. You didn't do anything.
At least with Bobby though, yeah, he may not have won a cup, but the team was consistently competitive.
True,
Right?
but to be fair, he did it in a different way where he had stacked the deck of getting all these players that he could get away with because he didn't have a salary cap. A little bit of different ball game back then than it was, in today's NHL. It's a little bit harder in today's NHL. You can't just go and grab a whole bunch of great players, and make a go at it.
Johnny, let's be real. Goldberg was a product of a good team in front of him. He wasn't that good. He got lit up too many times. Did you not see him when he hit JV? He got lit up for 9 goals.
Yeah.
Now,
Did you
want
see
to say
that?
Charlie Conway or Adam Banks? Yeah, all right, let's talk about that. You're talking, those guys are great Ducks. Forever Ducks. Now,
No, Anthony, he sent Jaguar.
yeah, I got Jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his number is going to be the next one that's retired for the Ducks. We just don't know when yet. But he'll be the next one. Yeah, I remember that year.
Mm-hmm. Beast. Absolute beast. He's one of my favorite players. That's why I was all up on Adam Oates. A non-flyer. That'd be good. That'd be good to do a show in the offseason. Like your favorite players that never played on your team.
Speaking of former Flyers, Albay Kubel just scored.
Let's put a thumbtack in that one. Boom.
Oh,
Genius.
Knack just scored a goal. I'm sure Knack is just so upset that he's no longer in Philadelphia. I'm sure Knack is kicking himself at night, wishing he could be back in this shit organization, going on a team that could very well win a cup this year.
Well, when you get
still love
set
you,
up
Knack.
by Kel McCarr,
I can't quit you.
Reaching out.
Well, when you're on a line with Nan Kadri and you get set up by Kel McCarr, yeah.
Okay, that's gonna do it.
That's gonna do it.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
John's saying
that's a
go
good one. Yeah. Brizgalov. I mean, he was good during his tenure on the Ducks. I'll give him that.
And he was pretty good for the Coyotes.
He played behind. He didn't really get going until he got to Arizona. I mean, Briz was a backup to J.S. Jaguar.
Oh, okay. I thought he contributed to that cup run. I was mistaken, I guess.
No, he did. He was
contribute.
on the roster.
He contributed.
He was the backup.
Didn't he contribute in 03 a little bit? Because didn't Jaguar
I
get
thought
hurt?
He stepped in for him. That's what I thought too. Yeah.
No, I'm wrong. I remember
he wasn't
now.
in the NHL yet.
No, it was 06. The Ducks went on a run and then they lost to Edmonton. That's right. It was that year that he played a significant part in the goal.
Right.
That's what happened.
And then the next year was Jiggy, but he was the backup. He's got his name on the cup as a Duck, but I wouldn't say he was. I wouldn't throw his name on there as one of the greatest. But
right place, right time.
Right place, right time. Absolutely. You could throw it. You could throw him out there as one of the greatest Coyotes of all time.
Which ain't saying much.
Did play. He played well in Arizona.
He did. It's not saying much though.
When he left Arizona, that became the problem.
Yes, because then he came to Philly. It turns out, well, maybe it was Arizona's defense led by Oliver Ekman-Larsson that was the reason why that team was really successful.
Hey, Buffalo's on the board. It's 27-1.
Let's see, John.
They're playing Tampa, if you couldn't tell.
John's saying, my boss dated Mike Ritchie. He grew a mullet and moved out west. Pussy must have been average.
That's comment of the night right there.
Great comment. That is the comment of the night. Oh, that's a good one. Wow. All right. So we're going through the Flyers. All right. So we go through the Flyers inconsistencies. Will the Flyers trade Claude Giroux? That counts as the first and second period, along with the comments. All that stuff. Let's go through those sponsors right now. Pay those bills. Start off with our poll question sponsor. What's the one thing you need to be successful in life? And I don't just mean in terms of being a successful sports team. I mean going to a job interview and just nailing it, knowing that you got the job, and going to the bar later that night and getting that hot chick that's standing there at the end of the bar. Rob, go ahead.
I know. It's confidence.
Correct. You
Something
are right.
I don't have.
Gold star. And how do you get
awkward.
confidence? Well, gentlemen, One of those things that gets you that is Manscaped, because you can not only take care of the sensitive regions by getting rid of the what, Bri?
Sorry, I'm looking for my confidence.
Oh, okay. But
Oh, sorry, junk funk.
junk funk, there you go. I thought you were looking at your junk funk for a second there, but anyway.
No, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it because I use Manscaped.
Yes, Manscaped. 20% off. 20% off, free shipping and handling and everything with the code at A2D at manscaped.com, and unlock your confidence, gentlemen, today, and use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Then, not only will the love life improve, hell, the professional life can improve too. Because if you feel confident, a lot of good things happen. So, go ahead, check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel delicious. Sorry, I had to.
Oh, that's got to be a t-shirt
Gator
now.
Country, that's great. Oh, I love it. Turn that jungle into a desert with Manscaped.
Nice.
Promo
Good
code
job,
ATD,
Gator.
manscaped.com. You get 20% off and free shipping. Let's go.
By the way, I would like to formally submit to Philly Drinkers a new t-shirt design. Have Bri just standing there like this. Full image of him just standing there like this. Like, I feel delicious. And just have that written down at the bottom.
Check out, Superman pose.
Oh, my God.
It's just me wearing a shirt that says, I feel delicious. Go to Manscaped.
All this kind of does remind me of that meme out there where it goes when your bae shows off her wax job, and it's this girl, and I guess it's her son or a little kid, and he's like, yummy deliciousness.
Oh my.
Well said, Rob. Well
Not a
said.
sports group. Best group on Facebook.
Yes, Anthony. Yes. Something I can get behind you 100%. This whole Flyers team does need Manscaped.
Yes, they do.
They have junk funk and no confidence. That'll fix it.
Uh-huh. They got it on the face, and they probably got it everywhere else, too.
Oh, ew.
Oh, have you seen them? They're not exactly trimmed.
Oh my.
Well, that's true. No, I mean, Manscaped, I was just thumbing through their catalog, too. They offer, like, you think it's just for, like, taking taking care of downstairs, but they give, like, the Solo Pro, that's the one-blade shaver where you can get that almost like that straight-edge type shave. They have, like, the lotion. Like, we were checking it out the other day, or the other day it was when they first signed with us or whatever, but like down to like lotions and like shave gels and shit like that. Like, it's remarkable how much that company has grown in a short amount of period of time.
Oh,
It is, man.
And their stuff is great. Like, to
Yeah.
Jimmy's point, like, I used to get the ball wipes all the time. They're great. Makes everything smell good.
Right. Correct.
I'm not going to go into details.
I love the name. I do love the name though, that they actually do call it the ball wipes. Like, I love it. Like, that's why you need to have products named that way. Just come out and say it, goddammit.
Called ball deodorant that I use on a daily basis.
I know. Isn't it wonderful that we live in a world where a
great.
thing called ball deodorant exists?
You feel like it's, the promo that they use about feeling confident, it's not wrong. When you put it on and you're just sitting there letting everything air out before you put everything back on, you're just like, I can take on the world today.
Yeah.
I can definitely do that.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
I like the Revive. It's just a spray. It's similar to like the ball wipes. It's just a little and then good to go. I've gotten compliments. I'm just going to put that out there. I have gotten compliments.
Good for you.
Manscaped.com.
They should start thinking about with the ball wipes. They use the GIF from Big Lebowski where the two guys are just with the bags for their bowling balls and they're just going back and forth.
Well done. Okay, so on to our sponsor for the comments. And our sponsor for the comments, Gleason's Bar, is located at 67 Mill Creek Road in Levittown, PA. Use the promo code A2D for 10% off your order whenever you dine in, takeout, or online. Gleason'sBarnSteaks.com is the website to go to. Hey, great stuff there. Go check them out and have yourself some nice food. And let's see here.
Hey, listen, you can get one of the better cheesesteaks in the area over at Gleason, so definitely go check them out in Levittown. Jake knows, which he apparently came back at the wrong time. You came back at the wrong time, and everybody else is still here despite the wrong time. Everybody
Should we consider that an accomplishment?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I'll consider it. Win. Anyway, so for the first period sponsor, if you're looking or buying or selling a home, change your career in brokerage, go to Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC. Give him a call 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. We all know how important that step is in life when you get a home or you sell a home or when you change your career. Listen, do it right. Don't just half-ass that. Do it right. Alan Foy is the one who's going to make sure it's done right. There you go. All right, on to our second period sponsor, and this is a more serious one. For anyone out there who knows someone that is a loved one or anyone themselves that's going through some issues with addictions or mental health problems, Counseling Center Sunrise Detox, if you need the help or they need the help, do not waste time. Give them a call at 856-651-8117. Listen, we all know how dangerous substance abuse and mental issues can be. We know how horrible that can be for anyone to go through and how it just sends your life into a tailspin. And it can take years to fix it. So don't let it get that far. Make the call. Take care of that person you love or take care of yourself. We don't want to see that happen. And they don't want to either. They want to help you, and we want to help you. So go to them, 856-651-8117. All right. And now, let's get back to the pandemonium that we like to call the Hockey Happy Hour. Actually, that's the real name for the show. It is called Pandemonium. Hockey Happy is just a pseudonym. Anyway. So
not something you really want to see, boys, but Matt Borowicki, I didn't see what happened. Laying on the ice, I guess he blocked a shot, not putting any pressure anywhere. He couldn't skate off in his own power. Hoping for the best for Borowicki. He's a solid defenseman. He was having a pretty good game for Nashville.
Okay.
These comments, though, by the way, getting back to the show here, have been amazing over the last 5 minutes. I just have to say. Everybody, including Mo. And she doesn't even have any of the proper equipment for that. She's still throwing out some great comments. I love it. You guys are the best.
The YouTube chat's on fire right now. Fire.
YouTube chat's great. Gator saying he needs a case of those wipes living in Florida.
He does.
In the summertime, I'm going to need them.
And
I'm in North Carolina.
John's saying it's like getting rid of a playoff beard after a third round exit.
Even after a week. Just a relief. It stops itching. It stops burnt. Wait, that might not be that. I might have to go to the doctor.
But they have the. I don't know. Maybe Body Check Wellness has an ointment for that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that kid. Well, I can't remember his name. It was like Matt Backlund, I think his last name
Teddy
was.
Teddy Balkine.
Yeah, that's it. I wasn't even close.
Sticks out for Teddy. Yeah, man.
Sticks out for Teddy.
Taking a skate to the neck. Tear. Very tragic. I mean, you saw what was great is you saw the hockey world, just everybody coming out, taking their pictures from home, kind of making it like a movement, kind of like the, or similar to the Ice Bucket Challenge, but in a different way, where they let the stick out their front door. You know what I mean? Sticks out for Teddy. You got when tragedy strikes, you got to just, rally around each other. And it's good to see that the hockey community doing that. Tremendous.
Yeah, you love it. You saw it with the hockey team too. That was in that accident too, and
yes,
the hockey community just overall, you can sit there and everybody has their fun with it, and there's some not so great things about it. But when the hockey world and the hockey community needs the support of its brethren, it really is a brotherhood, and everybody does a great job at rallying around each other. Even if it's the hockey is for everybody movement. It's just the hockey community is just absolutely amazing at times, and this movement's been great, and I love it because positive attention to the hockey community, and know that we're just not a bunch of degenerates, which, let's be real, most of us are. Look at Evander Kane. Yeah, I said it.
We are, but at the same time, though, we do take care of our own, and it's a shame that that did happen. I mean, obviously, Anthony and Gator brought up Clint Malarchuk and that incident that happened on television. It's just one of those things of, it's sad when something like this happens, because sports are supposed to be, fun and just a safe and enjoyable activity, and sometimes a fun and enjoyable job. And unfortunately, sometimes tragedy strikes. It's happened a few times. Sometimes players, unfortunately, have passed away due to head trauma issues because of either getting hit in the head too many times or fights, and sometimes they got hit in the board badly. And then other times, sadly, this is a case where the skate, which is it's scary because, you get close to that blade will, it'll devastate you.
And I used to sharpen hockey skates. They get sharp, and they will cut you with very little ease. Sorry.
Yep. And it just
very little difficulty.
Yeah. And you see it where if somebody just ran their finger along the blades, you're going to get cut. Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of how deep are you going to get cut if you're stupid enough to keep running your finger along it.
It also depends on the hollow too. Like it depends on how deep the hollow goes. So, but yeah, I mean, it's this is tragic. Unfortunately, this doesn't happen often.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, guys are aware of where the skates are, and unfortunately, we saw it with Tyler Bertuzzi the other night. Don, in the Ducks game. I didn't see what happened. I heard about what happened. I don't know if he got stepped on or whatever, but had his wrists pretty much cut wide open and had to get off the ice to get repairs. It's very unfortunate. It's an unfortunate part of the game. But players, I think, do a very good job, especially when you're taught at a young age, to be aware of what's on your feet and realize how sharp they actually are and how much damage you can actually do with it. It's scary. It's absolutely scary no matter what happens, because we've had players. Tomas Hertl had his thigh cut open. Jimmy's bringing up Braden Shen having his cut.
It was Luke, but you're right. He was right here, and he had to get his abdomen, and he had to get it immediately stitched up on the bench, and it was that bad. Like just, Benny's saying he got cut in the armpit by a skate. Actually, 18 stitches. Whoo, damn.
Yeah. It goes through flesh like paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's a tragedy. Rest in peace, and it's good to see the hockey community, doing what they should be doing, and God bless him. It's a shame.
Too young. Actually, I think it was Braden.
No, I remember it was Luke. It was the older brother, because he was on defense and he got cut. Yeah, it was Luke.
I'm looking that up now because I don't believe it. I think Jimmy's right. I think it's Braden.
I have to admit, I thought it was Braden too, but I could be wrong as well. And Maddie's usually spot on about these things, so who am I to disagree?
I think it's Luke because it's the only time I ever actually cared about him.
So. This is the true story.
Nope, it was Braden.
It was Braden. Oh, okay.
It was Braden. Jimmy was right.
All right,
that's right, Jimmy. High five.
Maddie.
No, it's okay though. It's all right. Good. That meant I never had to care about Luke Shen. So that's a win in my column.
Damn.
What? Luke Shen was garbage. And we traded James
He
Van
was
Reeves like
good
when
in
he was
Toronto.
in Toronto, and then
all
James
right,
Van Reeves
Anaheim.
was about to be even better, and we fucking traded his ass away for garbage. Amazing. And then we get him back, and it's past his prime. Great job, Philly. You know what you're doing.
Luke
was
Shed,
all right
top
for-
5 Flyers defenseman of all time. True story.
That Luke Shed was hilarious.
Those words sent Matty into one of his first rant raves before we even had that video.
Yeah. Trust me. You want to talk about a player that earned my ire? The fight just broke out in the Panthers-Flyers game. Panthers Canucks game. Uyghur and Pearson. But anyway.
Speaking of former Flyers that I've hated on, Zach Rinaldo came out and chastised the organization about them not honoring Mr. Snyder and his birthday. And I got to applaud him for that. You know, I take back a lot of that hate I had for you, dude. That was a good way. And he said it, and he did it in a non-inflammatory way, like a real professional way. You know what I mean? Like expressing, and those are the ones that cut the deepest. You know that, like when you're not like where it's not like someone's coming off like a troll, like they're just spitting facts. Like you done fucked up, son. You know?
Yeah.
No, actually, you're right. Actually, now that you mention it, I remember him being the first one to see it. And I never hated Zach Rinaldo. Was he a little temperamental at times? Yeah. But I liked him. He was a little ball of energy, and he did have some offensive upside.
Jim,
I did not.
I
mean, yeah, but
I liked Carcillo when he was on the Flyers. I didn't like it when he was on the Rangers.
I don't like Carcillo, period.
I think I hated Carcillo more when he was on the Flyers than he wasn't.
I don't know why.
You don't have to kill off unnecessary power plays because he's not playing for you anymore. You get unnecessary power plays.
But to be fair, he did score one of the biggest OT goals in Flyers history when he scored that OT winner against the Devils. So he did have that to his credit.
Out once in a while, Matty.
Hey, listen, I know, and a broken clock is right twice a day. I know.
Expression. Me personally, I'm a fan of the sun shines on a dog's ass some days.
But one thing I will say,
all those are good.
The one thing I will say about Dan Carcillo, though, I love him stepping up and pretty much being an advocate for players getting help for the NHL, really stepping up and addressing CTE.
Yes, a very important issue to bring up. And I mean,
that's a stretch.
That's a stretch. What's funny is he scored it on Brodeur too. It's like, boy, you would have thought Brodeur would have been able to make that save because it's like very rare does he leave.
Is that the same Blues legend, Martin Brodeur?
Yeah. And very rarely did Brodeur leave his ass open, but he did that time, ironically enough. I'm like, wow, he left the back door open. When the fuck does Brodeur make that mistake? This is the same game, too, where he stacked the pads and he reached up with his glove and stole a goal from Danny Briere. Same game, too. And it pissed me off to the point where it's like, I want to strangle Brodeur. I fucking hate him so much. But I hate him because he was fucking great. Anyway.
Yeah, so I just want to, I don't even need to tell you. This is Dan Carcillo in a nutshell. But he's doing, like I was saying, he does a lot of positive in CTE, post-career CTE awareness and players getting help and doing what they need to do to get themselves right and healthy. And I mean, we've had Riley Cote on the show a few times, and he's another advocate for it as well. And doing his body check wellness products actually do help with that, and it's helped him. And he's a much better centered and just mentally aware, better person than he was when he was playing because of all the brain. I don't want to say brain damage because that's probably not the right word, but all the sustained punishment that his brain took as a player. And you see it with Carbomb. You see it. You saw it because they were similar players. But the fact that he's a big advocate of that is huge, especially for players that aren't playing as much or even at all anymore, and just guys just wanting to get themselves better.
Yeah, Absolutely. And, that's very important for us to do because, unfortunately, we know the effects of what it can be like to be a hockey player, even if you're not necessarily a fighter. We saw what happened this past year with Jimmy Hayes. He passed away because, unfortunately, being a hockey player, I'm sure that had a big component of him contributing to his substance abuse, which unfortunately led to his passing away so early. And it's just one of those things of that can be hockey at times, where it can be a very brutal game. And it's always important for the right people. It's important for people to make note of how tough this game is and how important it is to take care of the players that play. So very, very important. Because you don't want to see too many more examples of Jimmy Hayes. You just don't. And Dan's saying, later, boys, thanks for making my night. No problem, Dan. Anytime. And I do love how you have to troll us at the very end there by throwing those Penguins at us. Thank you very much, Dan.
He's trolling me. He's trolling me because the Ducks play the Penguins in 15 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. So I love Dan's style, I appreciate that. I appreciate being a good sport. I also appreciate Tori Wilson still looking good at her age. Ooh, hold on.
I think so.
You don't see
nice.
Oh my.
Tutto bene.
What I find funny is somebody said, like, "Oh, who do you think?" I think somebody commented this. They said on Twitter. I was going through it, and someone said, like, if I could be any wrestler back in the day, I want to be Billy Kidman because he hit Tori Wilson. He hit that. That's a good point. Billy Kidman may not have had the greatest career as a wrestler, but he did get Tori Wilson, and for a period of time. So I can't argue with that.
I'm still in dire need of some Stratisfaction, so dire need, boys. Dire need. It's bad.
Yeah.
And City of Sin. Wait,
that's
what?
a good. Yeah, City of Sin. John saying, speaking of Hayes, how bad does his contract look right now? Very bad. Very, very bad. It looks like an Andrew McDonald 2.0. That's going to be my new name for him. He's Andrew McDonald 2.0. He doesn't even deserve his own name right now.
He looks lost out there, honestly. Like, his head's not in the ball game, and he looks like he's just. Yeah, I mean, I think he's still grieving, man, over his brother, because he's not like that guy that sparks the locker room, and I think that's what this team is missing too. You know what I mean? Joking around with the boys, like, he's just like going through the motions, and it's sad to see, man.
Yeah, no, you're right, and if that is the case, then I think I know Kevin wants to play. I know he wants to put out that effort and everything. I will say, though, as much as I appreciate that, maybe he should step away, try to get his head cleared. You know what I mean? Like, maybe take some time, spend it with the family and everything like that. Maybe just, I get it. You want to try and still help the team, kind of try to fix, or try to grieve at the same time. It's hard. It's like, how do you go back to work when you lose somebody that close?
Yeah, but at some point you have to get back to a normal life.
You do.
You can't let that. Listen, like, I'm not. Please don't take this the wrong way. But me, being somebody who's been in that situation, Rob's been in that situation as well. A little different, but losing somebody suddenly like that, it messes you up in the head for a little bit. But one of the best things to continue to do, and I've said this to Chrome, who just recently lost his mom. A buddy of mine, I said it to today because he apparently lost his wife. And my condolences, obviously my condolences out to everybody. Yeah. It's you at some point you have to get back to your normal life. You have to get up and live your life for that person. Because otherwise you're not going to do any good. It's really not. It's you have your grieving process, and a part of it is, obviously you have your steps and whatever, and people handle it differently. But in order for you to get better and to get back to some form of normalcy is getting back to your normal life, doing what you usually do. He spent enough time with his family. Now he's spending time with his other family. He's spending time with his brethren on the ice. Sometimes that could be even better than being with your other family. Because then you're not thinking about him. You're not talking about him. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is that you're still talking about him. You're still thinking about him. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because the memory lives on that way. But sometimes it's harder. And we don't know how he's dealing with it. Could be taking it hard. And he should. Honestly, it's his brother. I took my mom's death hard. I'm sure Rob did too. Death is not easy, even if you know it's coming. It's at this point, it's been a while. He needs to be on the ice. He needs to be with this team. He needs to be playing. He needs to get back to normal life. That's really it's one of the best ways to coping with death is just living your life the way that you did before, but living for them. Make sense?
Yeah. Well, that's what they would want for you. Now,
Anthony,
yeah.
I'm sorry to hear about your grand brother. My condolences. Yeah, and Mo put it perfectly. Grief affects everybody differently.
It does.
It really does.
It does. Look at John's comments. I had a friend of mine who got married to his beautiful wife. She died a month after they got married. He never took the time to grieve. And all he did was make terrible, terrible decisions afterwards.
Mm-hmm. You have to be allowed to. But at that same breath, you got to take that time. You take that time. You take that week or 2 weeks. Celebrate that person. Cry for that person. Be there for everybody else. Be strong. And after the funeral, pay your respects. Say your final goodbye. And get back to your life, because that person is going to want that more for you than anybody else.
No, you're right. You're right. That person would want you to carry on and do the right and continue to be what you are in life. Whatever that is, whether you're a hockey player or whether you're an accountant or whether you're someone who makes sandwiches at the local Wawa. It doesn't matter. They want you to get back to living your normal life and being, the great person that you are.
Yep.
That's
exactly.
That's what they want.
Like I said, for some people, it takes a little bit longer to get through the grieving process, and I think that's I'm with Rob here. I honestly think that's what's going on with Kevin. Is he's still a little messed up in his head because of his brother? It was so sudden.
Yeah, it was.
It's the sudden ones that hit you out of nowhere that hurt the hardest. Yeah, for sure.
And
I mean, not to be little ones that, like, to your point, even preparing you for, you're always hopeful that there maybe be a turnaround. And then finally, when the person passes, that's the confirmation that it's not going to happen. I mean, obviously, in terminal cases, you'll know that sooner than that. But it's the ones that come out of nowhere and blindside you that they take the longest to heal. That scar tissue takes the longest to heal. For sure.
Yeah. And I mean, and it was sudden, and we didn't even know what he died of until months after his death, and we finally found out it was a combination of injuries and him unfortunately self-medicating and doing substance abuse, unfortunately, and it's a shame. And that's again brings us back to, it's great to see guys like Carcillo advocating for issues regarding hockey players and injuries and whatnot, because we don't want to see things like that continue to happen to former hockey players where they're dying out of nowhere, and it's because they've been using substance abuse to compensate or treat themselves for either injuries or problems that they're having. We saw Carey Price took a leave of absence because he's been having issues, and that is a good thing. I'm happy he did that. And Montreal should be happy he did that, because you know what? I'd rather see Carey Price years later after he's done playing hockey than see him continue playing hockey and be dead 2 years done. Be 2 years dead like 2 years after he retires. I'd rather see him be around a lot longer after that.
Yeah, and we got the fam chiming in with some beautiful words, and Chris, I'm sorry to hear about your dad, man. that could be a possibility of something that could happen is you trade Kevin Hayes back to Boston. Then he gets the best of both worlds because then he can get back to a bit of his normal life and still be with his family. Because to go on to finish the rest of his comment, he said after, that helped him after his dad died and he moved back to Philly and it saved him. Could be a possibility of that too. That maybe there's something going on. And again, this is all speculation. We have no idea for sure, but there could be something in his head going on right now that's keeping him from being his usual lighthearted, laughing, keeping everything light kind of self, his funny self. Because you can tell he's just not the same player.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at him on the bench, he doesn't look like he's there. He kind of looks like he's just not, which I get it. You look at his eyes, it's like he's not locked in. You know what I mean? And it's understandable why he isn't. You know what I mean? I
still love him. I still love him. There's nothing I want more for people because I've been through it. Rob's been through it. Unfortunately, Chris has been through it. And we have other people chiming in, Johnny's friend. And
almost all of us have been affected by it in some way.
None of us. I don't want to see people suffer like that because I know what it's like. And I know every situation is different. I know what it's like. I took it hard. Having a great circle of people around you helps.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Because if it wasn't for my brothers and my sisters, who I love dearly, I don't know where I would be because I was a wreck for a very long time because of what happened with my mom. I was only 15. I was still a kid.
You were.
I was a kid.
Yeah, you were.
Man.
Yeah, I was 2011. I have to do quick math here. I was 31, 32. Yeah, 32. So at least I was a little older of a man to handle it. You can only imagine going through 15, brother. Wow.
It wasn't easy, but I had a great support group, man. I had a great support, and he has that here too, which is great for him because Cam Atkinson's a good friend of his. Keith Yandle's a good friend of his. He's got the locker room on his side. He's got the organization on his side. He's got the fan base on his side, whether they agree with his contract or not. We saw that goal on a live stream when he scored his first goal after coming back.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
It was.
It was amazing. Him pointing up to the sky for his brother, for Jimmy. I think he needs to just get going again. I think a couple more goals here and there. I think he gets going. I think he's okay because he's got a good support system around him. He really does. It might not be his blood, but you don't have to be blood to be family. And I get that quote from a great TV show, Boy Meets World. Mr. Feeney, wise man. All right, enough of that.
All right.
Well said, brother. Yeah.
So, is there any topics around the league that we want to bring up besides the fact that there's a Florida Panthers fan who has a Rocco Gudis t-shirt? Okay. Sorry, that just caught me off guard there for a moment there.
One big one. There's one big one that I know of. Actually, there's a couple. There's a couple that I know of off the top of my head. Robbie, I don't know if you have any.
I've had one or two. You go first, brother.
All right. Well, we'll start with because I think me and Robbie might be on the same page on one. So I'll let him break that one. Evgeny Malkin making his return tonight against Anaheim, making the season debut. It's definitely not going to make it any easier. And then go ahead, Rob, because I'm thinking we're on the same page on this one.
Yeah, I got basically on tap here tonight. We saw, has your game started up? No, it's 10:00, right? Penguins,
getting ready.
Ducks.
I'm not getting ready to turn it on right now.
Yeah, one thing you're going to see once you turn it on is you're getting Malkin making the season debut tonight versus the Ducks, which makes that challenge a little tougher. We'll see. I'm sure he's got a lot of rust to knock off. And speaking of knocking off rust, you also had Jack Eichel making his return to the ice for the first time, which is probably where you thought I was going with this. since his neck surgery in November. It's going to be a upward climb. There isn't an exact timetable because this surgery is so revolutionary. There hasn't been much to go on. But at least he's back on the ice, with his new team, and hopefully he can help them for a cup run.
Yep. Anthony just actually reminded me of another one. Real quick here is okay. So earlier in the week, Tuukka Rask signs a PTO, professional tryout, with the Providence Bruins. Gets released. A day later, back with the Boston Bruins. Ugh. And then at the beginning of the show, Chris, unfortunately, you cannot sign Evander Kane because he's going to Edmonton. And besides, you don't want that in your locker room.
No. We already got problems in the front office. Now we're going to have problems with the freaking locker room. Good God.
Mo, appreciate it always. We love you. Good night.
Good night, Mo.
Night, Mo.
And then the other one, actually, this is kind of where I thought you were going to go with it, was, and Don, I hope you're still listening here. Nikki Lid and Stevie Y are back together again in Detroit. Nicholas Lidstrom has agreed to become the VP of hockey operations for the Detroit Red Wings, working right under
Okay.
Stevie Yzerman.
All right, then.
Yeah,
well, then.
In Edmonton. What a joke that is. Sorry.
They wanted to know what it
joke.
was like to have a Cane on their team, but they don't
It's
realize.
a fucking joke. Like, the dude's a piece of shit person. Why are you bringing him in?
I know. It's so stupid. It's no, you're right, though, because it's like, come on, man. Like, how dumb do you have to be? Like, seriously. I think we can all safely say one of the most inept organizations right now is Edmonton, just based on that move alone. Yes, you got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. What the fuck are you going to do with them? Nothing, apparently. Not a goddamn thing. I mean, it's right up there.
They're okay.
Yeah, and now you add Evander Kane. What is the purpose of this? This
move for Edmonton just makes no sense. What was the one thing that we've talked about in the preseason? They need defensive help and they need goaltending. Yes.
And they keep
Kane doesn't do either or. It's just okay. I agree with Anthony because he took what I was actually about to say. The dude is a productive player on the ice, but it's off the field. It's his locker room that is the issue.
Yeah,
he's I hate using this word, but it's the truth. He's a cancer. He tears locker rooms apart. There's a reason why San Jose just completely said no. We're done.
He's a fucking diva. Like that's what he is. He is a flat out fucking diva. Everything's got to be his way, and if it doesn't go his way, then fuck you. And it's like, all right,
him being a diva, he's just a flat out degenerate.
Yeah, and he gambles. He does this shit. He does that shit. I mean, he's no Antonio Brown, but I guess on an NHL standard, he could be.
Yeah. I mean, he's a whole nother form of crazy, but that's fine. He's
in the whole other form of crazy. That's a phenomenal comment by you. That's great.
He is a different form of crazy. We don't know the truth of what happened.
That's the next T-shirt coming to PhillyTrickers.com right now. Another form of crazy. That's what Philadelphia sports does.
You know what else it does? Gives you bags under your eyes. I can't. Is Edmonton just not seeing what is going on? And I know we got to wrap it up here, but is Evander? Do they not see what's going on with Evander Kane and his off the ice issues?
How could you not? That's the funny part.
Like, it's the same thing with Antonio Brown. Tremendously talented, God-given talent, being wasted.
They're set to miss the playoffs right now, man. They've lost 5 straight games and are 2-6-2 in their past 10. Like they got to make desperate moves like this. I actually half expected it.
Chris,
I mean, obviously you're signing him to a 1-year contract, so it's not. I guess you're giving him an X amount of money to
be a pain in the ass. Okay, Chris. At this point, who cares? We need something to mix it up, and he's broke. He has to be a goalie. No, he doesn't. There's no incentive for him to be a good boy because he's pissed away how many contracts at this point. He's pissed away how much money. There is no incentive for him to be a good boy. He doesn't have to be.
He knows how to.
Yeah, there's no. He was willing to rack up gambling debts out the ass. He pissed away a good contract. He had a good thing going in San Jose for the first time in his entire NHL career, and he pissed that away too. Instead of actually taking it and going with it, he fucked it up. I highly doubt he wouldn't want to fuck up what he's going to go to now. I bet you he will. And if he manages to pull it off and he stays on Edmonton the entire time, doesn't do anything wrong in Edmonton, it's either one of two things. One or two things. One, either there's nothing to do up in Edmonton, so he can't get in trouble because there's nothing to do. Or two, he legitimately is so broke he can't get into any trouble. Those are the only two reasons why he's been a good boy. Only reason why.
I'm gonna say the second one because I think Edmonton actually there's a decent amount to do in the city itself. And like that's Anthony right here. This is my point. This is my point. They don't really need to bring the offensive talent. They got plenty. They got depth. But here's my question to bring in Evander Kane before we finish this off.
Before we finish this up,
this is the last thing I'm going to say. Who in that locker room is going to keep him under control?
No one.
I'll wait.
I mean, you could have argued Milan Lucic back in the day, but he's not there anymore. And Lucic might have been throwing the fucking craps with him. Like, Jesus.
Right. So you think McDavid's going to keep him under control? No. What's up, Wells?
Hey, Wells.
Yeah, Dreisaitl's going to keep him under control? No. Darnell Nurse? Probably not.
Right. No.
Mike Smith? I can see those two getting in a fist fight in the locker room.
Yeah.
Two hotheads like that?
Yeah.
Stop it. This is a signing that makes no sense. I did not expect anybody to pick up Evander Kane. I expected his career to be over.
Yeah, me too.
His NHL career, not his. I think he would sign overseas, but I would have figured his NHL career would be over. But it is what it is. Whatever. Let's get the hell out of here.
Just like Matt Hardy said, it's over.
Now, let's see here. Our third period sponsor brought to you by, let me see here, Fan Up. Hey, guys, so listen, if you've been taking those cues from Willie Vegas and Mr. Willie Vegas, listen, you can place your bets on Fan Up. It's the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. They have daily NFL contests, and like Bryce said earlier, the playoffs are here. So it's definitely time to get in on that. And there's plenty more as well. You can win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 points, about 5,000 bonus points. That's a $50 value. So go to fanup.app, start placing some bets, and that's how you can make your money as an A2D member. That's where you can go. And as
don't
well,
forget to check out Nate Money too. Nate Money on Money Podcast.
Yes. And Bri, your shirt there, only bad things happen in Philadelphia. Where did you get that fine piece of clothing?
Oh, this t-shirt here, that you can get in different makes and models. Bad things happen in Philly. You can head on over to phillydrinkers.com, get all kinds of great A2D merch there. We have hats, we got beanies, we got show shirts, station shirts, we got hoodies, mugs. I got a great mug. This is a great job too. Keeps the tea nice and hot for a little while until it cools, but whatever. All kinds of great A2D merch there. It's phillydrinkers.com. Alex Einhorn, great guy. He does a great job over there. It's Philly Drinkers LLC, phillydrinkers.com. Check him out. Get your A2D merch there.
All right then, and
you suck too, Don. Love you, buddy.
Yeah. So apparently the Red Wings and the Sharks are going to be getting ready to start up soon. So that should be an interesting battle.
Right, maybe they'll win this one.
I don't know. Maybe Hertl will wind up scoring an OT winner.
Game that Detroit had against, I forget who it was. They lost 4-3 in a shootout. Who did they lose to?
I forget. But we saw John Coyle earlier tonight. Great guy, and he does the ramp booth, but he also has all campus OC down in Ocean City, and he's giving 20% off of everything in the store, including hats, shirts, their team cornhole sets to all of the subscribers. So get subscribed up, and when his shop is open in Ocean City, listen, man, go check it out, because you can have all your team colors. You can wear them with pride. Check it out. All Campus OC. And
yeah, John's a great dude. Love John. So definitely head down to Ocean City and go see him.
You know what pisses me the most
Maybe.
off about the Flyers being like non-playoff bound is that remember what we talked about going down and seeing Johnny and doing playoff fucking games with the show down there remotely. Gotta wait unless things drastically turn around. That's not going to be a this year thing.
Oh damn.
yeah.
Stole that one.
But Johnny, let's put that thumbtack in that one too.
Yeah. One of these days in the next 10, 15 years when the Flyers are competitive again.
not to get you guys fired up, but because I know we really need to get out of here. Jeff Carter just scored another goal. So Anaheim's down 1-0 early on because of a really, really bad turnover.
And I always like seeing good things for JC. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it's a shame
Even though
that
it's Schittsburg.
Yeah, it's a shame that Holmgren traded him when he did.
I'll throw this up for you, Brian. Maybe it'll give us a positive juju before we jump off.
Well, the good thing is it's only 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the game.
Oh, there's plenty of time then. Good.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
But
specialized physical therapy. If you got any aches and pains, Brian had a problem with his shoulder. He went and saw Dr. Paul Vidal. He went and made an appointment. And which one did you go to, Brian, to get that all taken care of?
I went to Cherry Hill, but you can also go to Burlington if that's closer or easier for you. You can go see Allie. Allie is one of the top people over in Burlington. She primarily worked on my shoulder. Did a great job. Sweetheart of a girl. Or you can go to Cherry Hill. I had Carrie help me there as well. So it was kind of a I'm not gonna finish that statement. But they both did a great job and got my shoulder back to more than 100%. And they really are the best in the business. A bunch of rock stars over there at Specialized Physical Therapy. So go check them out.
Do we need another Manscaped commercial?
No, my confidence is booming after that.
All right, then. And our show sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, Body Check Wellness. You can get 25% off of your order, and it has hemp products, but THC-free as well, gummies, edibles, ointments. That's what they're used for. They're used for focus, clarity. They also help with dieting. They kind of just They also can be used for recovery as well. These are really great products that have been, founded by Riley Cote. We talked about it earlier where, players bringing to light a lot of the CTE issues and everything. And Cote used these products to help him get better. And now he wants to pass that on to everybody, not just other hockey players, but also to everyone out there because – it helped him and it'll help you guys. So Body Check Wellness, 25% off, A2D promo code. Check it out. All right, then.
I hurt my shoulder because your girlfriend wouldn't let me be on the bottom. She always made me go on top. I'm sorry. I had to. I love you, Don Don. Oh.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen,
I see what you did there.
That is the end of our show tonight. Next week, what happened?
Yeah,
what did he do?
His response is good. I love it.
What did he say?
He said lesbian sex. Nice, Bri.
Well done, Don.
And you're not doing the job, so somebody's got to. She's got to be satisfied.
So from now on, Brian Daly is the Sarah Jessica Parker of A2D Radio, and Mrs. Steal Your Chick. Anyway, that's what he is.
Jimmy, I see who's still in the chat here. Is Mr. Steal Your Chick?
I
don't steal chicks. I just satisfy them.
So actually, it's even worse. You satisfy them and then you ditch them. That's what you do. I see how it works now.
I mean, I'm going to quote a really good movie here. I mean, you get what you want from a girl, and then there's no need to ever call them again. And then you don't get what you want from a girl, and there's still no need to ever call them again.
That's some Manscaped talk right there. If I ever heard it.
Well, I mean, Don, if you know how to lay a pipe, maybe she wouldn't be doing that.
This could go on forever. All right. Let's finish this.
Yeah,
up.
What's the box say, B? What's the box say? It says wrap it up. Wrap it up, B.
All right.
We need to get that box from what the hell was it from? Chappelle Show to wrap it up. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Do it.
All right, guys. So next week it'll be the 18th. And the 18th, the Flyers will be taking on the New York Islanders. That'll be the rescheduled game that had to get postponed due to COVID. So if that doesn't get postponed for a second time, we will have that game to do live reactions to. That is a home game, too. So we will see you next week. We'll have live reactions to that. Again, barring if it is not postponed for a second time. We'll see you guys then. Until then, guys, peace and love. We love you out there, fam. And we'll see you next time right here on A2DRadio.com. Hopefully with a more cheerful mood. Peace and love, everyone.
Love you guys.
Fuck the Penguins.
Be safe out there.
Fuck the Penguins.
That's right.